Hey guys, how's it going? We are going to update the tier list that I did a couple seasons ago on the game. A lot's changed. Had a couple of requests to make a new one. So let's jump into it. We're going to kind of go based off of the viability. That's what I'm going to say anyway. As far as in PvP, so like their strength, how good are they, right, in PvP? And then also like, can you actually pick up and run with this? How easy is it? I guess that kind of goes into viability too. How easy is it to actually make it through the PvE with with that class, right? So we're gonna start with Tricksters. Tricksters aren't that great overall. I don't think melee is really that strong this season. There's sometimes you can work around, but Tricksters really aren't that strong, and for that reason, like, yeah, I think probably C tier. They're not awful, but they're not something that you can really rely on overall, especially in the PvP part of the game right now in the current setup of things with the mutation tree. Now we'll move on to mages. Mages are at the absolute top as far as I'm concerned. They're going to be an S tier, right? They're going to go into S tier. I think most people would agree with that. That's a no-brainer. You can just slide them right in there right now, which is a huge difference from my first one that I did. Mages are just really powerful now with the way that magic damage is going out, the energy vampirism, the way that it works. So very powerful, and you can just pick up and run with them at the start of the game, which is another thing that I'm kind of taking into account here. You can literally pick up a few mages at the start of the game and steamroll the first couple floors, then add a few more mages, and you're good to go. Now we'll go on to fighters, my favorite class in the game. And unfortunately, they just aren't as strong as they used to be. And that's just more or less, not necessarily because they took massive nerfs or anything like that. It's more mages and some other classes got more buffs. They got stronger, right? So that knocked them down a peg. I think I'm comfortable saying that fighters are going to be in B tier, just a bit better than Tricksters. For their overall, they do pretty good damage. I'm confident that if you get enough high tier troops, you can still do decent. But you're not gonna. They're not gonna beat a team of mages. Not very easily. Not without really good mutations. So we're gonna leave them in B tier. And now we'll move on to healers, my favorite class. You would think a team of healers would have the highest, like team of doctors and medical professionals might have the highest IQ and of all the puny humans, but unfortunately, they do not. Even after the most recent set of buffs that they received, they now have ranged attack. Their healing, the way it works now is when they fully heal one troop, if there's excess healing, it just automatically goes to the next weakest teammate. That doesn't fix the issues that healers have where they just run into their death if there's no one to heal or if they run out of mana, right? So it ends up being a waste almost in a lot of situations. So you can't really do much with them. Very situational. I barely ever have healers on my team, maybe once in a while. So yeah, D tier for them. Then I can't see them getting out of there anytime soon, which kind of stinks. Now let's go on to shooters. Shooters are interesting because they were very powerful back when I did my first tier list, and then it seemed like they were kind of going down a bit with all the magic that kind of got buffed up. But now I think that they are back in a good place. I think people have figured out how to work around it, and shooters are still quite strong. So, and you can use them. They're a little bit harder to use than mages at the start of the game, right? But as far as PvP goes, they're still strong. You get a team of shooters going, plus their attack or their attack speed buff that they give off makes them also perfect. Probably the best thing to add as an addition to the rest of the builds. So I'm gonna put them in the A tier. I think that's a fair spot for them. And now this one, the mega newbie, Oh, that's a no-brainer. That's S tier for sure, right? Yeah. Just for fun, it's in there. We're gonna put it down here in here. Unfortunately, I don't think. Well, you know what? Am I just jumping the gun there a bit? Am I jumping the gun? You know what? No. I take that back. For scrap that from the record. I take that back. When I think about it, let's put them back up. When I think about it, I would, and I've done enough Mega Newbie runs. Be confident in this statement. I would take my Mega Newbie over some of the other classes in a build. So you know what? Because of that, I wouldn't put it up here, but I think B tier. I'm confident that it probably can. It can probably be in the mix with some of these. It could probably beat a team of fighters, actually, even if you build your Mega Newbie right. So I'm gonna put it in B tier. I think it's actually pretty viable. If you haven't done a Mega Newbie build, definitely try it out. It's pretty viable. Eggheads. Eggheads, I don't have a ton of experience with. Now I know that it's I still feel like they're not the best. They're fun. They're fun. But fun doesn't mean best. I really like the fact that they give off the buffs, but you don't have any control over that, right? It's kind of a RNG with their thing too, with their towers that they build. So I'm gonna put them down into C tier. I don't think they're that good overall. You can make them work with kind of like adding 5 shooters. You can add these to a build, a few of these guys to a build, and really boost the effectiveness of your overall build. But I don't think that I wouldn't think that a full egghead build is going to be that powerful without really good mutation. Now we go on to cultists. Hail Satan, the cultists. I think it's pretty safe to say that they are going to be in S tier this season, which is a surprise to me. I honestly, when the game first came out, I never thought cultists. I never thought that they were that viable at all. Now they've come on with the Hail Satan builds, all the magic damage that you can do with that. So I would say that they are definitely up here in the S tier with mages. Also, cultists are probably the easiest class to start a game with. You can just get one set of cultists and go through the first few floors pretty easily most of the time. You get two sets of tentacles, and you can go sometimes, depending on the way things go, you can go all the way up to like floor 8 or 9, I think, depending on how it goes. So yeah, they're really strong, really strong, those two classes. Throwers, I keep trying to make them work. I want this class to work so bad, but human projectile is I just can't. I don't have the patience for it. I can't figure it out. Throwers, I won't say that they're the worst because I mean, they do a ton of damage. There's no denying that. They just squishy. They just don't work well, right? Yeah, they're so, the ceiling for them, or the way that I don't know what I would call it, the floor, like the skill floor to make them work effectively, really well, is way too high. You can't make it work that easily. So yeah, down here in C tier, maybe ahead of eggheads. Put them maybe over here. Oh, behind, yeah, back here. Fencers. Fencers are another one that's interesting. I feel like Fencers is probably, I'd be comfortable saying that they are the best melee class currently in the game. I think they're just with the energy vampirism and sword dance, it's just a really powerful combination. So Fencers have been consistently pretty strong in this game, and I'm comfortable putting them up here in A tier. I wouldn't put them in S tier because the power that these two classes have is just so much better than what Fencers has. And then we have tanks, another class that I want this class to be good. I really do. They give them a damage buff. It's just not it, right? They need more health. They need to be tankier, right? The tanks got to tank. They don't really tank. And when they do tank, they only tank for a period of time, really, and then it's over and they're dead. So maybe they need more resistance, magic resistance, something like that. But yeah, they're just not that good. They're not that good in the state of the game. So let's put them down. They're going to go down here with healers. I'm going to put them ahead of healers, I guess. But yeah, they're not good. I think I'm pretty happy with this. We got these two classes up here at the top. These guys in A tier. That feels right. Mega Newbie is kind of, it might be the wild one here. You could maybe make arguments that it should be lower. But for me, I feel like it's viable. I think that I think it could beat everything down here for sure, and maybe even beat fighter builds. Fencers are tough. Fencers are really tough for it. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. I mean, specific mutations make it hard. Down here we've got your eggheads, your throwers, your tricksters. Tricksters, I feel like you can make an argument to move them up. Really like tricksters. Maybe like low B tier, but not higher than that. They're just not that good. And yeah, and then we have the tanks and the healers. They're just not good. They're not good, and I hope that someday they get good, but at the moment they are nowhere near. All right, guys, that is it. That's the tier list for the classes of Despot's game as it stands right now. I'll make another one down the road just to keep on updating. Thank you everybody for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think I got right, what you think I got wrong. Where would you put the classes? I think this is good. But yeah, I want to know what your guys' opinions are. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one, guys.